Hello, and welcome to the BOWA Show. I'm here with Sean, as always. Don't worry, I will not be taking the host role. I just really wanted to give that a shot. So here we are. Thanks for joining us again. It is freaking April 27th here. You'll be hearing this on the 28th. We got some good shit for you here today. Some positive news, some good comedy, and we have some great conversation in the meantime. Sean, tell me what it's all about today.
Well, as always, you got to do that housekeeping first. So, if you're a fan of the show, make sure wherever you get your podcast from, whether it's Apple, Google Play, Spotify, you click that notification button, you're subscribed, you leave reviews, do those kind of things that help us quite a bit. If you're over there on YouTube, which has been doing a little better lately, hey, click that subscribe button in the lower left hand corner. Little notification bell right next to it lets you know whenever we post those new episodes up there. Also, if you're watching this video right now, go down right below and give it a thumbs up because those things matter to YouTube algorithms. So click that like button down there. Also, you can find us on Facebook, the BOWA Show podcast page. Random things throughout the week, little positive messages, links to articles of the stuff we do, that kind of good stuff. You can always find that over there as well.
Yep, that's the housekeeping, right, Sean?
Sweeping it up.
So if you guys really like us, throw us a thumbs up. That's all we're saying. We'll
No
throw you
matter
a thumbs up
where.
right back. Doesn't
Nope.
matter what you're doing, where you're listening, throw it to us. We appreciate you guys listening.
It's absolutely right. I liked you doing the opener today, Ben.
Yeah, a little bit fun.
Yeah.
See, normally when we record, it's a little bit earlier in the morning lately, and Ben's got to wake himself up. Well, it's 7 p.m. here, and technically this is the middle of my day.
Right.
Not
You're
because
all
that's my
amped up.
Not because this is my typical work schedule, but because I am a night owl. I
Hmm.
love mornings, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to nighttime, I'm talking, I go to sleep at 3. All
Hmm.
right. I am up. They got the late night show, and I'm like, bro, I'm just waking up. What's up? Let's go.
It's the early night show.
There. Yeah, that's a dinner show, right? Oh man, we got a good one. We got some awesome good news for you today. I thought it was kind of funny. We like to bring you. We are still in the middle of this pandemic, and we are all still quarantined. It keeps getting pushed out, and a lot of people can be really negative about that. Here in Michigan, they're doing. People have been protesting at Governor Whitmer's home at the Capitol building. People saying that they're taking away our civil liberties and our rights. And no matter what side you're on, I think we all understand that we're definitely in something that we've never experienced, at least in my lifetime or most people's lifetime that are still alive today. But it one thing that keeps shining through, and I'm happy to see it, is I'm actually seeing a lot more positive news
Hmm.
and Facebook and Instagram and anything I'm watching, I'm seeing a lot more positivity shine through because people realize just how important it is.
Yeah.
Once we're stuck in a position like this, we're seeing a lot of positivity come up, and we got a good story here today from the goodnewsnetwork.org. If you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. It is a full stream of just good news stories. You don't need that guy from the office reading it to you. You can get it yourself. Hit
Is
up
this the
Google.
one that's like BBC related? Is that
I
the good news?
believe it is. I
Yeah.
believe BBC runs this one. So if you're against BBC, then you know what? Whatever. Find it elsewhere. But I'm giving you a good link here. Don't get salted. So this is a good one. I think I'll start it off, Sean, if you're all right with that.
Yeah, dive in, Ben.
Yeah, awesome. This one is excellent. I think it's pretty cool. 6-year-old boy, instead of selling lemonade, boy sets up drive-by joke stand to spread laughter during quarantine.
I'm pretty
So,
sure everybody knows I can dig that.
yeah, no kid. This was Sean back when he was 6 years old, right?
Right.
All right. So, 6-year-old Callaghan McLaughlin had been looking forward to starting his own lemonade stand once the weather warmed up. But since the novel coronavirus outbreaks has forced the world into quarantine, he had to improvise. Rather than spending his time indoors, Callaghan decided to spread joy in his community by setting up a drive-by joke stand so he could make his neighbors laugh while respecting social distancing guidelines. Callaghan's mother, Kelsey, says the youngster has been using one-liners from a kid's joke book that she bought for him 6 months ago. Since she and her
Ooh.
husband have already been privileged to hear the bulk of Callaghan's jokes, she felt it was time he shared his jokes with a new audience.
If you've ever heard those books before, you know that they probably got tired of them pretty quickly.
Oh
I
my
I
God.
also got to say, like, I appreciate the gumption. I love the random act of kindness, but if you got to give them a piece of advice for the future, it's never a good idea to steal jokes. That just doesn't play well to the live audience.
Right.
Ask Carlos Mencia about that. You
Yep.
probably don't even know who that is because you don't hear about him anymore.
I did like his show, and I'm not sure if I liked it because I was a little bit less intelligent, a little more immature, and I liked hearing him make fun of all sorts of people, but I thought he was funny. So,
Right. The youngster has been setting up shop every morning at the end of the driveway in Saanich, British Columbia for at least 1 hour before taking a lengthy lunch break and returning in the afternoon for another shift. Callaghan also told CBC that he has been offering the jokes for free since he wants people to save their money for more important things like groceries. Although many passerby have reportedly been happy to humor Callaghan with a smile and a wave, the youngster was delighted to receive praise from Hollywood A-lister Ryan Reynolds after his labor of love was shared across national news outlets.
despite his popularity, Callaghan says he's simply happy to spread some joy during such turbulent times. There's a lot of stress in the world, he told CBC, and I kind of want to get some smiles on people's faces. Beautiful.
That's just one of the
Just
many positive stories that you can get out of COVID 19 circumstances that are going on right now from the Good News Network, that is. They are definitely trying to highlight some of those good pieces for you guys because they know how important having good news is in times like this.
Yeah, we really need each other. We need some positivity. And when you've had your day of quarantining in whatever circumstance you're in, I think all of us could use a smile no matter where you're at.
That's right. And if you want bad news, just cheers,
I get
Ben.
I get mine from the Anheuser-Busch Company.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend.
But if you want bad news, just flip on your television or scroll through Facebook for like
Yeah,
2 seconds.
yeah. CNN's full of it. Check them out.
Several.
CNN.com or Fox News. Both of them are just on opposite sides. I don't care. Can we find a middle ground? This is pissing me off.
Ben, one of the side effects of this quarantine for me is definitely that increased meditation time that
Yep.
I told you. That I'm spending more time doing that. The more time that I spend reflecting, the more time that I dive into those deep thoughts. I don't know. I get worried about my brain, man. I get deep.
What kinds of deep thoughts have you been having today, let's say?
Well, it's funny that it wasn't, I haven't meditated yet today. So, nothing today. This was from um, over the weekend, and it was all about the fear of the world today, of the, different levels of fear from people, how much fear plays a factor in people's lives, and how many people's feelings are guided by fear.
Hmm.
And the sad thing is that um, anger is a byproduct of fear. Anger
Yep.
is that dirty cousin feeling of fear. And so
Right.
you see a lot of people lashing out in anger in different ways, and you see a lot of people who are just working through different frustrations of this new world that we're going through. Um, and everybody just kind of wants to be heard and wants their voice heard and wants their place heard, and it just, I don't know, it sucks for me watching so many people go through having their emotions guided by fear and seeing the places that it takes people and the ugly places that it takes people. And being the empath that I am, that's always one of the feelings that I come to right away is the compassion, the empathy, the feeling sorry for other people. Like, oh, it sucks that you have to go to that place so quickly, that anger is the root of your life, that fear is the root of your life, that these have to be the cornerstones for you. And again, it always just comes back to the major thing that I talk about is that love replaces that. And that, like, it's just really reaffirmed to me how many of my choices have led me to a place of comfortability with the situation that we're going through right now. And that I always let love guide my interactions. I always let love guide my decisions. It's my cornerstone. It's the thing for me that's true and true all the time.
Mhm.
And so I don't ever have that fear. I don't ever have that worry. I only ever have the knowledge that the only things that I can control are right in front of me. I'm pretty powerless to a lot of situations that are ongoing.
Mhm.
And as uncomfortable as that can be for a lot of people, it can also be incredibly freeing when you can accept that and just be okay with it, that
Well, that's the thing is your acceptance for it, because I'll tell you what, like a lot of the uncertainty and the anger, that's what sends a lot of people into a deep spiral. Oftentimes, you meet somebody who's super angry or acting up, and I felt it when I was at Home Depot buying paint the other day. This guy came in and started screaming, arrows don't save lives. Don't tell me which direction I have to walk in a store. What do you mean I can't get, he was upset about all the quarantine things. And even though that they had lifted here in Michigan, that we couldn't buy paint or gardening supplies, he was still upset for some reason or another. And as he walked away, I heard the workers sitting here saying, you can always tell just by the way somebody looks when they're walking up that they're not. I know. And I was talking to one of the workers, my friend Alexis, and she says, "Look, I know he's not actually mad at us, and if he is mad at us, he's got something else he's got to work on. But I know he's just doing something else or going through something else that makes him upset. So I
right.
can't judge him. I just got to be here and just gotta do my customer service thing." But it just, we're seeing it so prevalent nowadays. We're really, if you look outside or you look on social media, you really see a dividing line where a lot of people are very angry right now and a lot of people are very concerned, where other people are also concerned but are looking at the positive side, or at least trying to spread the positivity or reaching out to other people and trying to make sure everybody else is okay. And I'm not saying, one is obviously better than the other, but who are we to say where somebody's coming from or why they have this concern? I myself have grandparents that are my best friends. I'm worried about their health. I just bought a house. I would love for my grandfather to be able to come over and help, and he's missing it. He drove by the property this weekend. My mom's crying, wishing he could help. We just want to hug each other. Um, and a lot of people have it even worse. They're losing their loved ones. And I thought it was nice what you said, that fear is really driving. I just heard on NPR earlier today that marriage, people are quickly getting married right now. I know a lot of my friends have had to postpone their weddings, unfortunately, but I know a lot of other people who have continued to go through with it, even though that their family and friends could not be there. But they also said that the amounts of weddings and marriages has actually like proportionately increased in the last 2 months, because people are scared and they want to solidify their marriage and their love with their significant other right now, because they don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, and why wait. And it's very it's interesting to look at the numbers of the human psyche and like why we do the things we do. And definitely at a place like right now where we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I don't care who you are, but I feel like we all have a little bit of fear in us, and even if you're not acting on it or feeling it like everybody else, it's there, the cognizant idea that this is what's happening around me. So therefore, I need to change my actions accordingly to an extent, some more than others, obviously. But I'm telling you, man, it is unprecedented, and fear is running the human race globally right now.
Hmm. And I don't know, it just sucks to see a lot of people going through that. And so
Yeah.
that's where most of the meditation has led me. I'm doing a lot of uh like I can't remember like the old name for it, but they call it like love mantra, pretty much
Hmm.
meditation of like sending out good thoughts to people and um
Right.
kind of like praying for people, pretty
Right.
much.
Yep.
Same thing. So it's just putting out those good energies to people, hoping that if you're someone who's out there listening right now, that's not fear guiding your life, that you can learn to pull back from that. It is absolutely normal this
Hmm.
time, as the last couple episodes that we've talked about have kind of led to, that it's totally natural to be feeling fear right now. It's totally natural to be going through the grieving process, whether it's subconsciously or consciously. The way of life that we had has been taken away one way or another, and that's the thing for me, that like whether you agree with protesters or not, you can absolutely see where they come from,
Mhm.
where it's like, you have to acknowledge the fact that, like, yes, the way of life has changed. If you're okay with those changes, you don't have any problem with it. If you're not okay with those changes, you should be able to see why they have a problem with it.
Right.
Now, are they following the right guidelines? Are you social distancing? Are you doing those things? No, they're not. And those are the things where you have to say, okay, you can find new ways to protest. You can still voice your opinion and be heard in modern America, but you don't have to do it the way of sitting shoulder to shoulder in crowds and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And you can find new outlets to protest. You can find new ways to organize. You can, stage, if you have celebrities who are on your side about all this
Hmm.
shit, get them to do their Zoom calls and
Right.
raise money for your causes and that
Yep.
kind of crap.
Yep.
If there are always ways to do things, there are right ways, there are wrong ways, but just seeing so many people, even just as in the sense of getting angry at those
Hmm.
protesters, lashing
Hmm.
out at them, calling people names, having those types of battles going on, it does just as much damage to your soul as you
Right.
ever hope that it's going to theirs,
Yep.
So
Right.
it sucks to see so many places of fear turn to that cousin of anger,
Yeah.
and to watch the battles that people go through with that. And all you can do is like I said, um know what you can control. I don't have control over a lot. As much as you want to save everybody in the world, as much as you wish you could, give them your mentality or your outlook on things, you got to know that everybody's in this race on their own terms and
Right.
on their own path. And you just got to be okay with the fact that a lot of things change. And this may have shifted a lot of things, and just because the future is uncertain doesn't mean you have to be uncertain. None
Hmm.
of my core beliefs have changed because of anything that's going on. I still love my family through and through. I'd still give the shirt off of my back to a stranger that I can help. I'm still going to lead with love, kindness, and compassion. I'm going to have empathy on my shoulders all the time. I'm going to continue to try and be a voice for the voiceless. Nothing changes in my life because of this.
Hmm.
Now, any new rules, guidelines, anything else, yeah, you can always say, "Oh, that's bullshit that I can't do this." That's, you're right. You're in America.
Hmm.
But to immediately jump into arms of the fact of saying, like, "Oh, we need a militia and you need an armed stand up to the government because
Yeah.
they're now a totalitarian and you're not allowed to do anything anymore." Okay, take it easy,
Yeah.
guys.
Breathe a little bit.
Right.
Brandon Hall, chill out. Stop berating our governor.
I've
Yeah.
got to say it's funny too. I've known Brandon since sixth grade. Good friends with him. Um,
You know,
yeah, I
Dude,
mean,
he's out of his fucking mind. I'm calling him out. Yeah, Brandon, if you ever happen to watch this, go fuck
oh,
yourself.
he doesn't listen to this podcast. I
God, he,
know
he drives me nuts, man. He's a fear mongerer. But
that.
continue on. Keep going. I apologize. He's a friend of yours. I'm sorry.
I don't care. It's got no skin off my back. You know what the real truth is, though? And this is kind of what it made me think of, because I've seen all the different tirades that he's been on lately online and all the different shit that he's accumulated for himself. So, you throw a lot of stones, you're gonna get a lot of stones thrown your way. That's the
Yep.
only thing I have to say about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
He
the
should get
fact
a face mask for that MAGA hat he wears all the time.
that's right. But the fact of the matter is, that he's also been a good friend to me throughout the years. I don't condone his past. I also know that, just like almost any other story in this world, I was his friend at the time. I'll specifically mention, because it's the main thing that's talked about when anything comes up about Brandon,
Yep.
is the Cancer Society and the
Yep.
money that was taken from them, and that he was charged with all that stuff.
I
I
wonder where it
was
went.
I was his friend at the time, and I mean, I even know for a fact that, like, he did not steal those checks. He didn't. He got charged with stealing a lot of money, and he admitted to stealing $50. Should any money have been taken? No, there's no justifiable reason to even take $50. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
The fact is, he thought $50 was justifiable in his mind. He did lose a bunch of checks, and he got charged with stealing all the checks and the $50 cash that he admitted to.
Yep.
So, just like any other story out there, there's more to it than just the fact that he is convicted of stealing from the Cancer Society,
Right.
and it paints you as a giant asshole for the rest of your life. The
Mhm.
election fraud stuff from 5 years ago, that doesn't even register to me, honestly. I don't care at all about that.
Yeah.
The guy who he was doing it for is kind of a turd.
Right.
So,
Oh, definitely.
and he was involved in the entire thing.
Hmm.
There's a local scandal for you. Not that anybody listens to this, anyway, that has prominence in Grand Haven, but
Right.
yeah, the whole situation there is, again, it's another trip. Now in the media, it's easy to just say Brandon was convicted of 10 felony counts of election fraud, or five
Hmm.
felony counts of election fraud. I don't even remember how many it was,
One is
but
enough. Yeah.
exactly. So, but for, no matter how many counts of election fraud that one, it's like, you can use it against him because the fact is he's a convicted felon now, and people can just throw that in your face. But it's another story that has a lot more to it than is just out there for people to be able to see. But I
I
don't
think
care
that's
about
why
any of
he's. I
that.
think
The
that's
fact
why it gets so up and personal about all this because he can't vote. So he's trying to get other people to feel the same way that he does. So
But the thing that I absolutely can say about the situation, um, oh no, now I forgot where I was going. Is I'm friends with tons of people on Facebook that I disagree with.
oh yeah.
I think anybody who's listening to this right now that knows that I'm friends with Brandon would say we're polar opposites. You know what I
Right.
mean? That
Oh, you are
we
very much so, in
in
my opinion.
every end of the spectrum, Brandon and I are totally different. And at the same time, even though I disagree with him on almost everything fundamentally in this
Right.
world, he and I can still sit down and be civil with each other, and have the same conversations that I'd have with anybody else. The fact of the matter is, me personally, like, I have whacked out beliefs about the government and all of that kind of stuff, and thinking that you know that that the government should have a lot less of a role to play for us as people, that we need a much smaller government involvement, that our money shouldn't be going to things like wars, and money going overseas to all this kind of shit on a constant basis, when there are a lot more things that we could be spending our money on around here. How many of our refugee camps, or not refugee camps, how many of our military bases around the globe could be turned into refugee camps? We could bring our troops home, no longer have those military presences out there, and when shit hits the fan in another country, we have a place to bring them without having to just ship everybody back here. You've got a
Right.
refugee camp located around the globe, and then it looks good on our part as the American people, of like, hey, they're actually helping people, and it gives us good PR, and it brings our soldiers home. And I have different beliefs than most people. I can't call myself a Republican, I can't call myself a Democrat, because I'm fundamentally different about certain things.
Most can. Yeah, they say 60% of America's independence. So
Right. I'm pro life personally. I also don't think that that's necessarily like a choice that needs to be talked about, because the fact is, if we did enough to prevent unwanted pregnancies in this country, abortion would be a non-issue. The fact is, like you use rape as a statistic for abortion, where, like, if somebody's raped, are you going to force them to carry the baby? Well, no, I don't think that they should be forced to carry the baby. At the same time, rape abortions account for less than 1% of the
right.
abortions that go on in this country. If we could eliminate 99% of the abortions in this country, I'd be okay with that. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like, is 1% of abortions okay? No, but I'm pro-life enough to be supportive of the fact that saving the other 99% of those abortions is worth it to me.
Mhm.
I can find compromise. I can
Right.
find common ground. I am not rooted into everything so much that I won't hear your opinion.
Mhm.
I am not so, concrete on everything that you're devalued in my eyes, that your opinion is devalued. And so I can take merit from everybody I talk to. It doesn't matter if I disagree with you or if I agree with you on everything. I can still find value in you as a person. I can still see your worth, even when other people can't. So
Right. I mean,
I,
like you and I completely disagree on that stance. We don't, but I don't think you and me, two white males, need to be talking about that necessarily. We can
right.
get into some heat there.
See,
But
but
I
that's the
know
funny
you and
thing,
I.
is, like, even with us being totally apart on it, you just agreed with me, where why not get rid of the other 99% of abortions anyway? You know what I
Well,
mean? If
because
we
I
have,
understand the difference that you could take these different stands to make sure that, accidental pregnancies don't happen. I understand that,
let's
you
increase
know.
funding for birth control. Let's
Yeah.
increase funding
I
for
I
sex education. The
I
fact is,
support Planned
abstinence only
Parenthood. I'll
doesn't
put it out.
work.
So, right. Yeah, 100%. Because that's just a Christian moral bullshit belief. Okay. Let's fucking get real, all right? People
Well,
fuck.
see,
That's
I'm a
what
real Christian. That's the thing.
No, I
I
understand that. No, I get it. It's just abstinence isn't going to solve the world's problem. It's going to make a lot of people just kill a lot of kittens because every time you masturbate, God kills a kitten.
oh no.
Sorry, I took that too far. I apologize, Sean. But I love what you're saying, and that's one thing that I want our listeners to understand is that Sean and I disagree on a lot. If you
Right.
don't know Sean and I personally, we do agree on quite a few things, but we disagree on a lot.
Hmm.
Not only do we disagree on a lot of political things, we disagree on a lot of moral things. We have different, completely different backgrounds to an extent, but yet here we are. And every week, couple times a week, most often, I'm talking with Sean, and he's one of my absolute best friends. So don't let fear get you into the idea that you have to protect everything you believe in.
Hmm.
Nobody to an extent. Nobody's here trying to tell you that what you believe is wrong and this and that. There may be some people out there trying to tell you that what you believe is wrong, but hold close to what you believe and
Yep.
don't let fear make you angry at those that disagree with you.
Yep.
Hear their argument or don't. Just turn, whatever, turn it off. Don't talk to people, whatever, but do not let fear turn into anger, turn into you being angry at other people, therefore causing them fear. It's an endless cycle.
Right.
It just be a nice dude. Quote from the BOWA show 101, be a nice dude. That's that step 1, be nice.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. We're gonna make bumper stickers. BOWA
I'm
show,
guessing
don't be
somebody's already done that, but
yeah, but it doesn't have our logo on it.
it's true. That's
That's true.
next. That's yeah.
That's true. We got a pretty good video about fear. You wanna anything else to say before we jump right into this dope video?
No, I think it's as good a time as any. It just goes to show you, like, keep that rational mind about you. Don't let fear run your life. Don't
Yes.
let fear quickly turn into anger.
Right.
Don't let anger guide your life. That just fucking life is tough enough right now.
Well, I was listening to a
Everybody.
podcast literally today. It's funny that you sent me this link because I was listening to a podcast today by a competitor company from me, honestly. But that's why I like to, keep my friends close, my enemies closer. But the guest on the show said, "Fear is only skin deep." That's his motto. That's what he does. And he says, you know what? Whether it's the nervousness going into a job, or whether it's the nervousness of moving or pursuing a passion, or the nervousness of even just talking to somebody at the bar that you're attracted to. It's skin deep. You will feel it, but it's all about how you control it and move forward. It's one thing to feel it. You will never not feel fear. It's
Right.
how you adjust and how you react that is actually the most important part.
Yeah. I always love the analogy that it's like these feelings, anger, fear, even happiness and all of the feelings, good, bad, and indifferent, all of these feelings are a waterfall. This comes from 10% Happier, the Dan Harris book, where
Yeah.
but they frame it to you that, like, you're standing behind the waterfall and all of these things are passing by in front of you, and each one is just like an individual drop and it's just passing by. And even though you feel like it's this wall that's in front of you, it's very easily penetratable. You can
Yeah.
easily get through it, you can easily go through to the other side, but all of those moments are just fleeting, and that's how quickly they pass you by. So don't let them guide you for too long. When you
Right.
feel that anger creeping up inside you, squash it. Tell yourself, this isn't worth it. It is not
Hmm.
worth my time to get
Right.
this upset. This is not worth my time is more valuable than being upset about this.
Yep. 100%. Don't waste your time. We all know time is money. Time is the most valuable thing that humans have in our lives. Time is one of the only things that we have that we can't get back, we can't sell, we can't trade, we can't buy. Use your time wisely and don't let fear dictate how you spend your time.
No, and stop giving your time to assholes.
Yes, stop. If you start a 100 comment feed on Facebook yelling back and forth with somebody, you're only wasting both of your time because nobody is reading except the people who are actually getting entertainment out of it. So it's
Me.
just, yeah, it's
You
sometimes, yeah.
never see me comment on anything,
Oh,
but
no.
I read it all.
Oh, absolutely. No, I have literally on Facebook, I'm a genderless, religionless, politicallessness less freaking person. I'm just this blank profile of a picture of my face, but no opinion on anything except country music and beer.
Yep, but not
Well,
real.
let's jump in, Sean. This one's great. This one comes from Prince EA. We've had Prince EA on the show a few times, not personally, but we have
Maybe one
shared
day.
about one day. But Prince EA's got great videos. If you haven't heard of him, check him out. Prince, the letter E, the letter A. He's on YouTube. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram. He's everywhere. Go find Prince EA. This one is called the F virus. So check this one out.
Are you scared yet? They say this thing, it kills your immune system, attacks your lungs, makes it hard to breathe, and it's spreading. Spreading like wildfire, causing havoc. Your friends and family are gonna get it, if they don't already have it. It's tragic, I tell you, madness. Scientists say old people get it worse, but most get it eventually. They say this is new, but no. This has been around for centuries. Look at history, it's just a different name, a different strain. And now there's no way to contain it. It affects the rich, poor, young, old, the unknown, the famous. It's dangerous. Everyone's on edge, locked inside of their homes nervously. Borders are closed, countries declare state of emergencies. Grocery stores are empty, nobody's praying in church. The world has gone to crap. No wonder toilet paper sold out first. The stock market crashed, thousands laid off work. Hand sanitizer is going for $1 million a squirt. You better not sneeze, cause no one's gonna say God bless you. They might even arrest you. I don't mean to stress you, but washing your hands obsessively in the restroom will not protect you. Friends, I'm not talking about coronavirus. Now this is a virus even more deadly. The F virus. You've seen it. It spreads every minute like an epidemic. It lives on surfaces, most commonly remote controls, TV screens, cellular phones. It makes you desperate. Doctors say every time you scroll down your feed, you get reinfected. It invades the brain, and when it mutates, it turns into hatred and blame. China did it, no Italy did, no Iran, no Spain. Oh, I didn't make it clear? The F virus, ladies and gentlemen, is fear. But don't be afraid. Despite what you hear or see on your TV, there is good news during this tragedy. To fight loneliness, people are performing concerts on their balconies. The UAE sent aid to Iran. Japan donated supplies to China for free. Written on them was a poem that said, "We are waves from the same sea." Listen to me, like every tragedy, we can let this destroy us, or we can use it to our benefit and repair relationships with our sisters and brothers, wipe away silly grudges, because when it's all said and done, all we ever really had in this world was each other. So yes, let's flatten the curve and expand our hearts. Let's social distance, boost our immune systems, be mindful of where we put our hands, but also where we put our attention. Be alert, not fearful, because the F virus is a pandemic easily transmitted. If you do contract it or exhibit symptoms, we recommend immediately dialing the hotline of a level-headed friend. If you are exposed through your TV, change the dang station. Decontaminate yourself through dance, laughter, and meditation. 2020 has been morbid. From Kobe to COVID, may we use these tragic moments to finally wake up to what's important. Right now, tell someone that you care for them. Yes, right now, tell them that you cherish them. If they are not in the same room, ring them up and tell them you will always be there for them. Because together is how we will rise above. The only vaccine for this F virus and every other virus is love.
I think that was the perfect tie-in for today, and the nice little bow on the BOWA show.
Oh, he did it. He did it.
Oh God, I'm always good for those terrible jokes.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
It's a good thing we didn't play the clip of the kid reading his jokes from earlier. They were so bad.
Hey, come on now. Give Callaghan a little bit of, help him out here.
No, I already said it. I appreciate the gesture. The kid is awesome. You're standing outside and you're spreading smiles. I can get behind that. The jokes were bad.
They were they were pretty
No
bad.
wonder the parents were like, okay, go outside and do this.
What's black and white and red?
An angry penguin.
And no, a penguin that's embarrassed,
Oh, that's
Sean.
right. A
That's
penguin.
right.
Yeah.
But before we get too far, I've got to throw in a terrible, terrible segment, and I have nothing really humorous or anything to throw in. But we're doing Ben's tip of the day. Ah, Ben's tip. Dun dun dun
Ba-doing.
dun 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 dun.
She makes my thingy go. Ba-doing, doing, doing.
All right, tip number one. When you're in middle school, don't listen to shitty music. You will regret it in the future. All right, my real tip. I've been working on my house, so this is a real tip. There's no humor behind it except a little bit because I'm fucked. Okay, so rule number one: when you're painting a room, make sure that you don't wear good clothes. I blew that one. Tip number two: more paint on the walls is important versus getting it on yourself. I found out that paint is more expensive than makeup, more expensive than Rolls Royce. Paint is expensive, son of a bitch. I spent like $200 on a single room. So put most of the paint on your walls, not on yourself. Tip number three.
Ooh,
I'm hitting
trifecta
you with a
today.
trifecta. If you ever go to buy a house or rent an apartment, take everything that the seller or the landlord tells you with a grain of salt. If they say, hey, there's hardwood floors under the carpet, don't say, wow, this is great. I have hardwood throughout my whole house. Because what they really meant was under a very small portion of this carpet that is throughout your entire home, there may or may not be hardwood floors.
Are you finding concrete under some?
I'm finding very, very broken and disgusting asbestos tile. And it would
Oh,
be fine if it wasn't busted. But what I'm finding is
I
some,
can't see it. It blurs
well,
it out. It's censored. It
son,
must be Ben's penis.
it, you know what? It was. Damn it. That was Ben's tip number four. Just, just
Oh.
kidding. Just kidding. It was not my penis. Now, if you want to see my penis, DM me. No, I'm just joking. I'm just
Oh
joking.
boy.
Completely joke. Sorry. We're a
Just fell off
family
the
friendly
rails today.
show. Except for all of the F bombs, we are a very family friendly show.
Right.
So, well, I don't know, Sean. I do think, I'll be honest, to bring it back in a little bit, let's reel it back in a little bit. But I've seen fear kind of dictating my life the last 3 months during this quarantine. As soon as everything started happening, I was very fearful that I wasn't going to get my house. And I spent a lot of days sitting here gnawing at my own thoughts and, just chewing it over. And I'm sitting here nervous and anxious. We all know I have anxiety. I've talked about it plenty of times. And when it all came down to it, I did get the house. And I spent about 3 weeks worrying, just worrying, sitting there. And here I am worrying about my grandparents and their health, and I'm not saying that's a bad worry by any
Well,
means. I'm being cautious and making sure that I don't spread it to them, and I hope to God that they're being safe. And I'm fearful to go out in public and go to grocery stores, and that's not only just because of I might catch it. Is if what if I'm an asymptomatic carrier and I could give it to somebody and I'll never know about it, but I have caused a family or an individual harm, and I think that especially for somebody like me, there's no way for me to avoid fear
Mhm.
at this point. Um, but what I am seeing is that when I'm really fearful or I'm nervous about my grandfather, I pick up the phone and I give him a
And
call. I say, "Hey, Grandpa, how you doing? How are you and Grandma doing? What'd you work on today?" And I just chit chat. Sometimes I'm fearful to go get groceries, and then I think, well, I'll just get it shipped, I'll get it delivered, and I'm just putting somebody else in risk then, and instead of my own self at times. But I'm really learning to breathe and say, look, this is the reality. We're all going through it. Life may be completely different at the end of this tunnel, but I'm not going to be fearful of where we're going because I have great friends like you, Sean. I have a lot of good friends from school, from high school. I've got a wonderful family. I got a good support group. And I know not everybody has that, but I'm sure if a lot of you can look out there and say, find one person that you know that you can always rely on to pick up your calls or answer your texts, um, then that's a little bit something to be a little bit less fearful of. You've got somebody there. Find someone, even if it's a dog or a cat or something. Just find some happiness in your day-to-day life.
Oh, that's why I'm glad that's what Prince EA ended with in that too. Is hey, pick up the phone and find your level-headed friend.
Right.
Every group has one. Find the person who can be your calm in the storm.
Yep.
I'm going nuts right now. I just need to vent. Just get it all out there. The fact is, none of us have answers. There's nobody who's doing the right or wrong things right now. It's still so early in everything that judgment is rampant everywhere, but at the same time, history is going to tell us the lessons. You know, Hang in there, but and like you said, that fear and anxiety and stress and depression and all of these things, anger, they're going to be a part of your life. They're going to come all the time, and you're never going to be able to stop them. But I promise you, they don't have to define who you are, and they don't have to dwell in your heart for
Right.
a long period of time.
Right.
You can snuff it out, and you don't have to let it consume you. So your time is worth more than those assholes. Let me say it for a second time to make sure that it
Let me
is
hear it. I'm
right.
sorry.
Your time is more valuable than those assholes.
Yes. Yes,
Three
it
times.
is. Yep. Yep.
We got Robert Jenkins on comedy today, Ben.
Sending it back. Thank you, Robert Jenkins. We're doing a little bit of a flashback. Well, not really.
I
Flashback as
mean,
in Robert Jenkins, but this is very new. This is only from a month ago, right before everybody got shut into their home. This is a wonderful from Robert Jenkins doing some local comedy here in the central Michigan state. It's going
I
to be
love the fact that I know Robert from our time doing Funniest in GR a long time ago. That was like 5 or 6 years ago now at this point. But the fact that he at least thinks I'm okay enough that we can play his comedy on our show. So
right.
we play the Laugh Factory every week anyway without permission, just because it's
Right.
like, nah, go ahead, tell us to take it down. Anybody who watched last week saw Dimitri Martin got pulled anyway. So
Yep, immediately. It was like it got published,
the
and 2 hours later, we
fastest
got an email.
the
Boom.
fastest email I've ever gotten about, nope, sorry, copyright.
Well, I think it's because that segment is actually on Netflix. So
Yep,
not only do we have Dimitri Martin, we have YouTube and
Netflix,
Netflix
yep,
all
all
like,
watching us.
no, 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 they say.
So unlike last week's Dimitri Martin, which for the record is funny, you should still go look it up.
The
But
link is still in our bio. Go check it
right,
out because we're not salty about it.
no, not at all. But Robert Jenkins does give us permission, and it's a nice way to leave you with a smile today because that's what it's important, right? Keeping those smiles, taking the things with you in life that help you get through your day.
Thank you good folks for coming out. It's so nice to see everybody besides to brave the pandemic. Gamble on some jokes. It's dope. It's important as a comic, off to the south, watching y'all laughing, you want to have a good time, that's good. It's very encouraging. Because as a comedian, you don't know what the fuck gonna be out here. People make weird choices with their entertainment dollar. Right? Did y'all know people still go see magicians? Fuck magicians. The practice of magic is aggressively worthless. It's the only time I can think of when people take the hard-earned money and buy tickets to watch somebody pretend to do something they can't fucking do. None of y'all would buy tickets to an air guitar concert, would you? I don't think so. Plus, I don't know if y'all have given this much thought, but I have. I think the practice of magic is sexist. That's right. Sexist. Y'all didn't see that one coming, did you? It is. If you think about it real hard. You notice you never see any female magicians. That's right. David Copperfield, David Blaine, some other motherfucker named David. You never see any female magicians. You know why? Because when they thought women could do magic, they burnt them motherfuckers alive. So fuck magic. A while back, September of 2018, I lost my mother to cancer. My mother passed away. She had cancer for 5 years. It was rough. It was rough when that happened. Try and get ready as much as you can, but you're never really ready for that type of thing. Now remember, me, my dad, and my brother were around her when she died. And when she died, it was up to me to call the funeral home. We wanted to have her cremated, so I called the funeral home, and they said, okay, we have to make a stop. We'll be there to pick her up in an hour. Gotta make a stop, we'll be there in an hour. So an hour goes by, and they show up on time. And when they get there, I don't know what it was, but I just got really protective, you know what I mean? I don't want anybody else to touch her, so I put her on the stretcher myself. Put her on the stretcher myself and took her out to the hearse myself. And I go up to the hearse, and I open the door to slide her in, and I see that there's another motherfucker already in there. I'm like, man, who is this? Said, we told you we had to make a stop. You said a stop, not a pickup, motherfucker. Bullshit. Why is he wrapped in white sheets? This is a Klan member? Did you stop and howl, motherfucker? My mom's last ride on earth was Uber pool. This is bullshit. And grief is a trip. Grief will strike randomly. It's rough. When you lose somebody very close to you, it'll hit you just out of nowhere. A couple days after my mom died, I broke down crying at the gas station. Just sitting there, boo-hoo crying, like, oh, she's always put 20 on 5. You know? It didn't make no sense. I was sitting there crying, and the dude next to me at the other gas pump, he think I'm crying about gas prices. Yeah, man, gas high in the bitch, ain't it? Hey, man, my mother is dead, man. He was like, oh, the gas still high, ain't it? Man, shut your ass up. People get weird when you make jokes about cancer, right? Too serious, I guess. To me, the best thing about Rush Limbaugh getting cancer is everything. Shit was dope. I was sad about Kobe dying, then I got the good news. I said, all right, perfect way to start Black History Month, ain't it? The best part about it is his tumors are black, and you know that's fucking with him, right? I hope they all wearing gold chains and break dancing in his organs and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Good stuff as always. And we actually have that one's a little bit longer, so we're going to be able to break it down and use it over a couple episodes. So part 1 of Robert Jenkins for you right there. Looking forward to part 2 next week. And hopefully as we start moving forward, we do have some positive signs of like some restrictions being lifted and stuff like that. Yeah, we're going to have to continue to socially distance and be mindful and stuff, but we're probably going to be able to visit loved ones in May at some point. We're going to be able to, I'm going to go check out Ben's house. We're going to get this studio up and going. I found out, I have some news, Ben.
What is it?
We have our first sponsor.
Let's go, baby.
That's right.
You going to tell me on the air?
Yeah.
How you going to not? Oh, my God.
I wanted to see your reaction
What
live.
do you mean? Who's sponsor? What's going on?
Fully Worked Smoke Shop, my buddy's smoke shop. So now the other thing that comes into play is I know Joel is a listener to us, so maybe we need to get Juiced involved too and say, hey guys,
Are we allowed
Let's
to get
start a.
competitors?
That's right. Let's start a bidding war here for the BOWA Show services.
All I'm saying is we need a few more of these, Sean.
That's right. You can always find BOWA Show merchandise if you're interested.
Yep.
We do still have some T-shirts. They're all still sealed, factory sealed, so you don't have to worry about coronavirus.
Pre-coronavirus, still in there cellophane.
Says it.
That coronavirus.
But yeah, I actually they are moving stores. They're moving to a location in Grand Haven. I pitched the idea to them, and I was just like, "Hey, I'll tell you what. You'll get one person who comes in and says, 'I heard about you on the BOWA Show,' and after that, we can start talking about prices." So
I like.
I'm at the same time they gave me a backdrop that's got their logo and like a couple of different advertisements on it. So
Nice.
we do have a backdrop from them. We will also hopefully have a BOWA Show one. At some point in the future. But I do love the fact that it's a local business. It's somebody we can help get their advertising out there a little bit. They're not open yet, so once they're up and going, we'll give them a plug and see if we can't get somebody in there to say, "Hey, I heard about you on the BOWA Show."
Maybe we do a show there, and you can drop on by and get a free BOWA Show sticker or something.
And I would love to, when we can open things back up, talk with like Odd Side Ales. I love support like craft breweries and things like that.
You don't even drink, Sean.
I will occasionally have a craft beer, and if I do drink, it's definitely gonna be craft beer. That's for sure about me.
I think I gave you a Busch Light one time, and you drank half of it.
I may have shotgunned it. That's about the best she'll get out of me.
That's plausible. Oh man, this has been a fun convo today, Sean. I had a great time.
It has.
I hope everybody else did too.
Thank you for listening. If you're one of those people out there, the fact of the matter is we're still doing it for you guys. There are still some of you listening. I can't believe it, but hey, even to the podcast. So just audio, there are still people who are like, I'm going to listen to this for 45 minutes out of my week because it leaves me with a smile. So you guys are what it's all about. Thank you so much. I hope that you know you're loved. You can always reach out to me and Ben if we're that friend that you need that level head from. Ben will always give you that ear to listen. You can always count on me for that.
I've always got good tips too.
He has tips for days. Just
Tips.
don't DM him about the one,
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Spread some love, tackle today, and as always, make the best of what's around.
Thanks, guys.
Asa.
Oh.
Hey, my friend, it seems your eyes are troubled, care to share your time with me. Would you say you're feeling low and so? A good idea would be to get it off your mind. See you and me have a better time than most can dream of, better than the best. So can the pull on through whatever tears it does, whatever holds us down, and if nothing can be done, we'll make the best of what's around. Turns out not aware, but who you're with, that really matters. That really matters. Yeah. And hurts not much when you're around. When you're around, and if you hold on tight to what you think is your thing, you might find you're missing all the rest. Well, she ran up into the light, surprised. Her arms are open, her mind's eyes, seeing things from another side than most can dream of, better than the best. So can pull on through whatever tears it does, whatever holds us down, and if nothing can be done, she made the best of what's around. Turns out not well, but what you think that really matters, that really matters, that really matters, that really matters, yeah. nothing can be done. We make the best of what's around. Turns out not well, but what you think that really matter? That really matter, yeah. And hurts not much when you're around. When you're around, yeah, la la, oh, oh, yeah, la, oh, oh, yeah, la, oh, oh, yeah, la, yeah, la, oh, oh, yeah, la, oh, oh, yeah, la, oh, oh, yeah, la, yeah, la, oh, oh, yeah, la, oh, oh, yeah, la, 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 the best of what's around, oh, oh, yeah, la, oh, oh, yeah, la, 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 the best of what's around, oh, yeah, la, oh, yeah, la, oh, we can live in the best of what's around, oh, yeah, la, oh, yeah, la, oh, we can live in the best of what's around, yeah, la, yeah, la, yeah, beautiful. Sharon Bryant, Candace Anderson, and Tawatha A.G.